guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be talking about a person who has gone viral. This person online goes by John's Bones. Now, as the name indicates, they sell human bones. Well, the name indicates bones, but human bones. This person is the owner of an osteological supply company. So basically, the premise is, and all of this is allegedly based on what has been given to us on the internet, this person collects bones to sell them back to the medical field. This is what the person alleges. One thing I want to be very clear about here is that I'm not going to go into the legality of this because, first of all, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't feel comfortable talking about the legality unless it's like a cut and dry law. Here it's not like that. So I've seen a lot of contradictory information, so if there are any lawyers in the comments who want to weigh in, by all means do, but that's not what I'm going to be commenting on. And the second thing I wanted to say real quick is that I'm still having mixed feelings about this. So rather than being here to be like, oh, this is wrong, this is right, or telling you what's what, I'm just gonna tell you what I'm seeing on the internet. This person called John went viral because he was posting on his TikTok videos showing walls full of spines, skulls, like fetus skulls, a lot of things that even I, as a person who I think can take a level of morbidity and a level of unusual things, even I felt a little bit uncomfortable looking at that. A lot of people weren't necessarily uncomfortable only about it. The big issue came up when they were asking, okay, where are you getting all these human bones from, right? Because people might think of grave robbing, people might think of, bones that are stolen from general burial sites, even from tribes, which we're gonna get into in a second. So people were just kind of worried because it seemed like it was such a vast collection that they were thinking, is it possible that all of this is ethically sourced or as ethically sourced as possible? There's an alleged thing, something I saw going around is that apparently in his collection, he has bones that were of tribe members of various tribes. Apparently those TikToks have been deleted since, and apparently he's been blocking words that refer to those tribes. Now, I can't confirm that because I didn't see it with my own eyes. I'm just telling you that is something that was going around, which I think is also what brought more attention to this individual, because they're like, what is he hiding? Is he hiding something? Why is he potentially muting words? So on and so forth. So I decided to go and see for myself what this person says about where the skeletons, where the bones are sourced from, because that was really the main issue most people found. It wasn't necessarily about the legality, because I think we can all agree there are plenty of things that are legal that are still fucked up. So the legality wasn't the main thing. It was about morals, it was about ethics, and therefore the sourcing of it. So I went to John's website where you can buy bones, and we're also gonna get into that. And there's a tab where it says education, and basically there are articles written by John explaining various things. Now, he's also made a TikTok about this, so I'll just read the important parts of the article on his website. I'll link everything down below so you can check for yourself, but this is what he says about sourcing. So the article is titled, "But John, where do the bones really come from?" So in this article, John kind of gives a history of the bone trade. A lot of people ask him about his sourcing, and he says, "A lot of the sources I get skeletons from are from the descendants of doctors and dentists." Now, this was a big red flag for a lot of people because if you see, like I showed you in the TikToks, the magnitude of skeletons and bones and pieces of bone and all that other shit he has, you start to wonder, what are the probabilities that he found all these descendants of doctors and dentists who happen to have these bones in good enough condition to sell? Like if you go down the logical loops, you're just kind of like, okay, So that's up to you whether that, is believable or not. He then goes on to say that the bone industry has a very complex history. And he says that basically in the 1920s, due to the lack of people donating their bodies to science, there were few cadavers available for dissecting for, med students, anatomists, people who were trying to learn about the human body for legitimate reasons. This led to many instances of grave robbing and even the creation of a whole trade called resurrectionists, who procured bodies for anatomists and medical students. These actions, while morally dubious, represented a great need for legally acquired skeletons. The English major in me gets a little bit frustrated because he says these actions, while morally dubious. I don't think it's dubious. I don't think there's any doubt about the morality of dragging someone out of their grave and using their body in a way that they didn't want to be used. Like, if they were put in a grave, the most likely thing is that they told their families, I want to be buried. This is the way I want to be put at rest. End of. It says in the 1920s, the medical bone trade began in earnest, primarily in India, but with some competition from other countries such as China. Skeletons were prepared, then exported to Europe and the United States. Oftentimes, the descendants of the doctors and dentists do not want these pieces to remain in their attics and basements, so that's where we come in. We take these pieces and sell them back to the medical field, for the purpose of expanding knowledge about the human body. Being the person that I am, I decided to go and try and buy a bone. Since these bones are meant for people in the medical field, I just kind of assumed that when you went to checkout, you would have to have some kind of wall where they ask you for your accreditation or ask, what your job is if you're a teacher of science or something. Like they ask for something to kind of prove that you're buying bones for medical reasons or for like the education of medicine, anatomy, whatever you want to call it. I expected that. And the reason I say that is not only because if you're going to say it's for medical purposes, there should be some kind of way that you're going to check that it actually is for medical purposes. But aside from that, I remember that even when I was teaching a first-year university English class, I remember just to buy the books, the teacher books, I had to like show proof that I was teaching. So like the idea that to buy bones and that you're in the medical field, you just don't have to show anything and he's just gonna sell them to you is a little bit surprising to me. I'll just put it that way. But as you can see in the screen recording, all the way until checkout, there's nothing asked. It literally just goes to like, okay, give me your money.
Hi, so I'm on here to address this comment. I was asked to talk about the user John's Bones and why his entire online persona, business, everything is just hideous. So this user has been under a lot of flack over the last couple days for being exposed in having unethical business practices, for having inexperienced staff members, and for just overall not respecting the dead. So first off, I will say that if you go on his website, you can see all the qualifications that he and his staff members have. He is not qualified in osteology. He has no training, no professional training in osteology, archaeology, any of that. He says that he's articulated animal bones and that was his segue into actual human osteology, which is just astounding to me. His team online, their staff profiles, have an osteologist who has a BA in anthropology, not osteology, and this individual looks at photographs to ascertain the sex, age, biological profile of human remains, which is just incredibly wrong. So John also has had a Sami skull listed for sale. Sami are an indigenous people of northern Scandinavia. He was getting flack for this skull, so he deleted it off of his website, although thankfully there are screenshots of it. But anyway, this indigenous skull is not for a private collector to have and for a random citizen to purchase and have it collect dust on a shelf. It deserves to be with the Sami people. So he also says that these remains are going back into the medical field and that's their intended purpose. Okay, that's funny because they're going to private collectors, not medical schools. You literally accept that the Indian and Chinese remains in your collection were donated because of a corrupt system. Note that the caste system in India exploited poor people into donating their remains in order for their surviving family members to get some financial compensation. So I've literally spoken to academics in the field that I've worked with personally about this individual John's bones, and when I show them his profile, they are literally horrified. He's not a professional osteologist because any school he applied to, anyone that found this page in his business would absolutely cut all ties with him. Sorry, but no professional institution that deals with human remains and ethics would have ever allowed this sort of person to represent the university. It doesn't happen. As a question of legality versus morality, it used to be legal to own slaves, for example. Does that mean it was ever moral? No. The first thing we're taught as osteologists is respect. The spines he has so carelessly hung up on his wall as if they're this season's newest fashion item. Those remains belonged to people who loved, they had families, they saw sunsets, they saw the night sky. The dead can't advocate for themselves. So it's up to us to give them the decency and respect they deserve. So I'm just here to continue the discourse on John's bones. Thankfully this has moved onto Twitter. They're dragging him, so that's been entertaining to see, to say the least. But anyway, back to it. This you? Enter to win a real human skull, a jar of human teeth, or a tooth necklace? That sounds perfectly legitimate. That's a great way to, enhance the ethos of your so-called legally ethical business. So you can block me and other creators all you want. You can remove our comments, you can filter out the words Sami and Indigenous from your TikTok comment sections, and you can take your staff profiles down off of your website. Doesn't change the fact that people have screenshots, people know exactly what you are up to, how suspicious your shit is. You can also lie in your comments saying that you PM'd me in March, back when my DMs were private, so you physically couldn't have contacted me, in your comments recently saying that you were happy to have a discussion with me and see my viewpoints. Then you blocked me, so that's kind of funny. I guess I can't talk to you now, so you just have to use your alter TikTok called Osteology that I'll tag below, because that follows me and just you. So I know you want to see what I'm up to, I know you want to see what I'm commenting, so this you.
So basically, because this was such a controversial topic, I asked people on Twitter what they thought about this, and these are a couple of the replies I got. As a Native American individual, it just makes people look at us like we are some sort of tool. People have taken our culture and appropriated it, and now they can't even respect our dead ancestors. Someone else says, it's harmful if he doesn't source the bones. It's illegal to own / buy / sell Native American / indigenous bones, not to mention bones are likely to be obtained via grave robbing. So as you can see, these are only 2 examples, granted, but as you can see, people are skeptical of the sourcing and also the legality of it. I just scrolled randomly through the responses, and overall people are saying that it's disrespectful, that bones shouldn't even be sold in the first place, human bones, that it's awful and immoral. You guys can let me know what you think. I know a lot of people are really sketched out by this individual. They don't necessarily believe the sourcing, how ethical all of this is. So you guys can let me know if you think it's ethical, if you believe him, if you think there's some fuckery afoot. Let me know what you think. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always, and I'll catch you guys next time.